Hello, welcome to the first of our Swiss Round 6 matchups here in the 2021 Super Metroid Randomizer Accessible Tournament. I'm Ferran Burgundy. I am your play-by-play commentator for the evening as we have a pair of 4-1 matchups coming your way. Sapphron taking on Amadeus, and this one certainly should be a goodie. Now, for those joining us for the first time, this is Super Metroid, but it is randomized. So, what that means is all of the items are shuffled throughout the proverbial land here. With one exception, the morph ball that is in its vanilla location, so that way that will allow our runners to be able to go into those smaller spaces. But other than that, everything is shuffled around. Now, there is a semblance of a word that I'm going to try to use sparingly because it does get used a lot, but a semblance of logic that indicates that an item that is not accessible through basic means, it's not going to be kind of hidden in a very deep area. So you're not going to see space jump, for example, deep in lower Norfair. You're not going to see something that is speed locked in a you're not going to see speed, for example, in a speed locked location. That's the word I'm looking for. And it looks like we are about to get underway. So both of our runners are going to make the roughly minute-long trek through criteria from the ship down into Brinstar where that morph ball is, and then from there, well, you'll see where things go around the way. And yes, round 6 was just announced a little bit ago here, and two of the competitors, they found that now was the best time, and we were able to make it work here for you. Thanks to Redemption for her ability to both moderate and restream this race here. Decimus 2, he's taking care of the tracking, and I've got the commentary underway, so we're able to bring this to you not too long after the round 6 matches were announced. So there is still a lot of action to come your way, but we're getting it started right off the bat here. So both of our runners getting the morph ball pretty much at the same time. Yeah, it looks like there are a few extra items noted on the tracking end. It probably could perhaps use a bit of a refresh here, and we'll get to that in a moment. But meanwhile, our first item is high jump boots. That is interesting. So that puts the ceiling item that normally our runners would go and take the enemy bump because they don't have the high jump boots, and for all we know, they still may. All in one, yeah, Sapphron almost did, and then realized, oh yeah, this is in logic now. I can do this. So they both pick up an early energy tank and some missiles as well. So with no power bombs, they're going to have to abandon the Billy Mays check, as it is known, and actually a few other power bombable locations at this point, and more than likely head back up to Crateria and go to their first logical access to bombs, which is going to be Bomb Chorizo, which has a very large chance of being power bombs, but also a slight possibility of being the traditional bombs in its vanilla location. If that's the case, then we are going to have ourselves a little bit of what's known in the community as some DLC, some downloadable content, a boss that you seldom tend to go against, but we may see it here. And when it comes to randomizer, you expect the unexpected. That is for sure. So making the climb up, skipping the 230 location because again, no bombable access to it. And down in Bomb Chorizo, it looks like Saffron is going to, well, Saffron's going to do a little bit of farming for missiles after a couple of misses there. Both of our runners doing the same, and it is power bombs at Bomb Chorizo, so no fight with Bomb Chorizo here tonight. That does give a litany of access, and this may be where we see the first semblance of divergence. Now, you see Saffron attempting, actually, both of our runners attempting a trick known as Alcatraz. That is a way to escape that area without utilizing any bombs. That is not part of the game's intent. And both of our runners, almost at the same time here, are going to go over to 230 missiles. And we see our first set of super missiles. So they'll be able to unlock some of the, they'll be able to unlock the green doors that you see, and any of the pink or red doors. Well, all it takes is one of those as opposed to 5 of the standard missiles, and that will open that door. The blue doors are opened automatically with a shot. And it looks like both of our runners are going to go in the standard direction here and are going to head left over to what is known as the Terminator room. Normally there's an E-tank in there. Why it's called the Terminator is because you tend to traverse pretty often, and I'll be back is usually what is said there. And oh, wow, screw attack. That is a nice, not required item, but it's certainly a good one to have in the early going. And both of our runners are going to head up now to the back of Gauntlet and at least take a peek. And we have an E-tank and a set of missiles, so nothing that is dire that they're going to go out of their way to get necessarily. So instead, they're going to both head on over to the western end of Brinstar. They're going to make their way down via the elevator. Reem, to answer your question, yes, high jump boots were in Logic. They were at the construction zone first missiles location. So apart from the morph ball, it was the very first item that both of them picked up, and they were able to utilize those high jump boots to get the ceiling item, the E-tank, which was also in Logic. So they're both going to do a mock ball here, which is a trick that does put things out of Logic. We have some supers. We have a reserve and some more power bombs. And behind the way, we have some more supers as well. Now, all of these are out of the game's intent, as normally you need the speed booster, and neither of our runners picking up that reserve tank. Kind of surprising, given that it's in the early going here. But we do have a missile up at the top. That's normally where the early supers would be if you were to utilize that mock ball technique. And they are going to go back and get the super missiles that are underneath. Now, in SMRAT, normally all of that ground is collapsible, but there is a, I guess, a little edge on the left here that you can utilize with your shooter to get out of there and not potentially be soft locked. Great quick falls on Yeah, over on the left-hand side for Amadeus. And we are going to see what's at Eticoon's. We've got a missile to start. And behind the green door, we have power bombs. So already 15 power bombs, actually 15, 15, and 15 for the missiles, super missiles, and power bombs. Not a bad split, all things considered. You like to see those early power bombs as they do provide access to a lot of different places. And the screw attack, allowing our runners to go through these frogs pretty quickly here. Certainly like to see that as well. Now, in the upper part of Eticoon's, we have even more power bombs. And that may be close to the last ones that you see throughout the game. Maybe another pack, but that will probably end up being it here. Sapphron now is going to head into Pink Brinstar first. Amadeus not too terribly far behind. I mean, given that both of these runners are 4-1, you know that they have quite an arsenal of sequence breaking tricks in their realm. As we see Sapphron making the jump up here, and we've got traditional missiles up top. He is going to pick those up as the missile count a little on the light side. Not going to bother with the back end, or maybe just perhaps a change of mind. Yep, is going to head back there. So both of them are in what's known as the Mission Impossible room, and we have super missiles in there. Known as Mission Impossible because there is a way to collect the item and jump back out the top, akin to the Tom Cruise movie of the same name. And we have super missiles at the bottom, which both of our runners are going to collect. And Metroid MST, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in. We're about 10 minutes into this Swiss round matchup here between Amadeus and Sapphron. Both are 4-1, 4 wins and 1 loss to their record. And we've got a little bit of divergence, at least at the moment here, as Amadeus is going to go for the Spore Spawn skip. Sapphron successfully going for the Wavegate skip, which was just for some missiles. And in the back of Spore Spawn was some supers, which Amadeus is going to go ahead and collect. Since neither of our runners have the charge beam as of yet, super missiles are ideal. They're going to need a minimum of 60 to be able to take on Mother Brain, which is the optimal end goal that we'll probably see about an hour-ish from now, depending on how the seed goes. So now Amadeus is going to backtrack to where Sapphron was, as Sapphron picks up the super missiles and Spore Spawn skip. Now that Wavegate glitch is out of logic, but neither of our runners picking up those missiles, so it's kind of a moot point. But generally you need a super missile that if you jump up and shoot diagonally at a particular angle, it happens to penetrate that reverse gate. As Sapphron now going to pick up the power bombs at the charge beam location, and both of our runners basically at the same time are going to head into Green Hill Zone, and it looks like both are going to take the same pathing back into Blue Brinstar to pick up what was left behind when they did not have power bombs. So the first Blue Brinstar check, we have some missiles. And I'm pretty confident that, well, no, okay. Amadeus is going to head over to Billy Mays. Sapphron is going to head over to the pipe, and that's some missiles that are left behind. So this is our first real major divergence here. And we're going to see which of the selections leads to an early advantage. So Amadeus going for 2 items here, as Sapphron is going to do the Red Tower climb in Brinstar. And we have Spring Ball. But as if that wasn't great enough, but wait, there's more. Act now and we'll throw in some super missiles at no extra charge. And the Peebo SBs are flowing in chat, to say the least. As down in the Alpha Power Bomb room, we have a set of super missiles. And behind that, we have the Wave Beam. Okay, so interesting to see. Yeah, absolutely. That is a deal. Yeah, Sapphron has validated the run. So yeah, that wave could lead to Crocomire, so that is a potential play. It's kind of hard to see, and this is where our runners are trying to figure out what the game is intending for them, as the beta power bomb room just leading to some missiles. That's going to be left behind by Sapphron, and now Sapphron is going to opt to head on down as Amadeus picks up the direction that Saffron had left. So, or Saffron, I should say. That's a long O, not a short O. So Saffron now is going to head over toward the Kraid area, and Amadeus is going to follow as well. So they're both basically even, with the exception of a little bit of differential exploration. Missiles in Spazer, and Saffron's going to leave that behind. Amadeus going to do the same, and both look to be heading over in the direction of Kraid. Sapphron, exactly, with a slight advantage. I mean, it's Wave versus Spring Ball, as we have the Spring Ball on Amadeus' side. And we're going to take a look here to see. We've got another set of missiles. And that's where that Wave Beam comes into play, as Amadeus, once he gets there, will have to utilize a power bomb to reveal that location. So that's just a little slight time-saving advantage. Sees that it's a missile and moves on from it. And we're going to have pretty close Kraid fights here. Sapphron heading in first, Amadeus a couple of rooms away. So we'll see which of our runners will do the Kraid quick kill. Not an easy task by any means, but it takes a couple of well-timed missiles, or in this case, the Wave Beam, and some super missiles, and Sapphron is going to get the quick kill. Will Amadeus be able to follow suit? Well, speaking of following suit, Varia's suit in its vanilla location, Sapphron picking up Varia. And Amadeus not able to get the quick kill, so is going to what is known as take Kraid to prom. And Amadeus, in a moment, will be thrilled to also pick up the Varia suit just under 17 minutes into this race. And yes, that is true. When it comes to when it comes to other randomizer seeds, it's what's known as a Fred. A little shout out to Fred Coughlin, a creator of very many randomizer games. So Saffron now going to head into Upper Norfair, which the game is kind of dictating that proverbial logic as the Various suit and high jump definitely indicates that is a way to go. Saffron's going to go ahead and do an out of logic trick known as a mock ball to the left here to check what is the vanilla location for the ice beam. It's a little bit of a gamble, and wow, ice in its vanilla location. Ice to see you. I do promise this is randomized. Because I know the question is going to come up in chat, and indeed it has. So that is a gamble that certainly pays off. And we've got Crumble Shaft over here. Meanwhile, Amadeus going to go ahead and we've got power bombs in the Crumble location. At the high jump boots vanilla location, we have some missiles. And Amadeus going to head on up to pick up Space Jump. Also a very nice find. So Space Jump and Screw Attack, that is going to make Lower Norfair very, very nice once our runners get there. Runners of this caliber, they definitely like to see both of those luxuries at the early going. Meanwhile, a check here at the Croc Escape, and it's the Charge Beam. Oh, that is definitely going to be a consideration. It's a little out of the way, but it's certainly worth thinking about. So Sapphron now going to pick up the Space Jump. Amadeus, meanwhile, is heading into the lava room. And yeah, Space Jump with the Spring Ball also making Meridia pretty nice. And we've got an E-Tank. Amadeus going to go ahead and pick that up because energy has been at a bit of a premium thus far in the early going. And Sapphron finding out the Charge Beam is there as well. So really the only differential was the divergence in Brinstar. So Amadeus with the Spring Ball, meanwhile Sapphron with the Wave Beam. And we thank you, Leslie, for the clip here. As now heading into Norfair Reserve, we have a set of missiles to start. Then two more checks here to the west. We've got missiles and supers. So now a check here and a set of missiles. That's vanilla in the bubble missile location. And Sapphron going to go ahead and check where Amadeus was just moments ago. So now it looks like we're going to get at least two of the checks over here as Amadeus heading on into the speed location. Yes, there are a lot of virtual high fives. COVID safe, of course. High fives at a 6-foot distance. And they are both, as you can see, wearing masks. And we've got Spazer at the speed missile location. Not ideally what our runners are looking for, but it is an upgrade to their beam. And there's X-Ray. So they know where Charge is, and they've got X-Ray here. All that's needed is Plasma, And we may see some microwave action once we get to Meridia, as our runners can utilize what's known as microwave. It's equivalent to, for those familiar with the original Mega Man, the Yellow Devil in there, where it's essentially some pause strats to be able to continually inflict damage. The X-ray works as the pause in that particular case. So now we see Amadeus going to go ahead with the wave checks. And we've got a reserve tank, which is going to be ignored. Okay, 2 E-tanks. Little brazen, but and another reserve tank. So already, I believe that is 3 of them here, just 23 minutes in. Sapphron going to make that check as well, and we'll see if Sapphron opts to take either one of them. So now it's Sapphron. Sapphron does opt to pick up the reserve tanks. Meanwhile, Amadeus is going to utilize the missiles here to try to open the gate from the back. That is a glitch that he is trying to take advantage of, and does so with the super missile. Sapphron won't have to worry about that. The wave beam. And let's see where Saffron's heading here. As Amadeus, not necessarily going to head down to Croc, but is certainly going to pick up the charge beam, maybe to do so prior to Croc. It's hard to say. So Amadeus going to be the first to pick up charge. Sapphron, I was going to say, is not going into Lower Norfair. At least I would hope not. So we have the charge beam get, and Amadeus is going to opt on out of there. And is going to head over and do the ice beam checks. So this is going to even up that advantage, as Amadeus is going to pick up that ice beam as well. Sapphron, meanwhile, is working on reloading primarily energy. And chat noting that apparently to Amadeus, Crocomire isn't in logic, but Sapphron knows that it is, but is also avoiding it and is going to head, I stand corrected, is going to head into Lower Norfair. No gravity suit. I don't want to say no problem, but 2 E-tanks. This is a very, very bold move, or bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. And is going to utilize the 2 emergency tanks. Those reserves certainly coming into play. And does get up there with 199 energy, though. Oh, boy. There is a safety save coming here for Sapphron. It'll give us a chance as the save occurs on Saffron's side. Amadeus riding the elevator to get our collective pulses and blood pressure down a little bit after that. So I wonder if Amadeus is going to head back to where Sapphron had gone. This is an interesting divergence here. So Sapphron now going to head deep into Lower Norfair here with just 2 E-tanks. Those reserves are empty, but does have the space jump and the screw attack, so able to get through that room. And Amadeus with the X-ray check. Now, this is normally a longer check. It's a little out of the way, but it's pretty high risk, high reward. As Sapphron going to make me happy here by checking location near and dear to my heart. So we have missiles and plasma beam at the mouse. Wow. What a find. So I would think that that is going to put Sapphron in a pretty distinct advantage. Now, Sapphron does know where the charge beam is, so that could certainly be something on the way out of Norfair. And Amadeus, after taking the gamble here, is now going to go take care of Upper Red Tower. And we know that there wasn't anything of major significance over there. Oh, that's right. Wave was there. I stand corrected. So much is going on here. This has been wild, to say the least. So that almost evens them up in terms of beams. As we've got a super missile over at the Power Bombs of Shame location. I'm sure Sapphron was hoping that it was an energy tank. As, I don't know about you, I don't feel all that great or comfortable. Well, then again, I'm not very good at this game, but 2 E-tanks, even with the 2 reserves, and a Ridley fight? Oh, goodness. Well, there's going to be a little bit of a replenishment here with the Metal Pirates. And a good point in chat, this is Varia suit only, as neither of our runners have yet found the gravity suit. Varia was at its vanilla location behind Kraid, as Sapphron taking on Ridley. Meanwhile, Amadeus back up in Crateria and is going to go for the Crateria landing PB, and it is some missiles. So a couple of swing and a missiles here for Amadeus, as Sapphron now takes care of Ridley. And behind Ridley, we have some missiles as well. Meanwhile, power bombs at the back of Gauntlet. Or at the front of Gauntlet, I should say. Going to avoid the back, although those E-tanks are kind of tempting given how light they have been thus far. Leads me to think there might be a very E-tank heavy Meridia, because both of our runners are doing this with just 2 energy tanks. So Sapphron already having taken out Ridley and Kraid, now I guess is going to go back on the hunt while escaping here for some items. Now is Amadeus going to... let's see, is Amadeus going to head back south, or is he going to head over to the east and do a wrecked ship check? And that looks to be the case in the latter form here. So we have super missiles at the moat. And Amadeus is going to take a dip, and we're going to see what is at the mermaid missile location. And it is an E-tank. Sapphron, meanwhile, is skipping a few of the checks here. No visit to the Firefly Funhouse. No checking out the jail. Three Musketeers. That is some supers, and he's going to leave that alone as well. Amadeus, meanwhile, is about to enter wrecked ship as Sapphron continues the escape from Lower Norfair. Now, this is a little bit of doubling back, but it'll be interesting to see where Sapphron goes from here. I would imagine he might go and collect that charge beam, given how many super missiles he's skipped, as we've got missiles at the spooky missile location, so that is vanilla as well. As Amadeus going to head on down to face Fantoon, one of the bigger RNG enemies. They're bosses of the game, and I'm sure if you polled most Super Metroid runners, I would say the least favorite. I'll go out on a limb by saying that. So we have Fantoon on Amadeus' side. We have Crocomire on Sapphron's side. And if only he had opted to go and collect that charge beam first, he could have one-shot Crocomire here. As a charged plasma beam will instantly one-shot and knock Croc back. Now, that being said, Sapphron did make quick work and sees the power bombs and is gonna not gonna pick them up, but is going to express his displeasure by firing his plasma beam at them. Does it a little bit more while waiting for the cutscene to end. I believe, Sapphron, that your disdain has been expressed. Now, Amadeus, meanwhile, can't utilize microwave on Fantoon, as we know that Plasma is behind the mouse in Lower Norfair. So we've got a check to the upper left in Croc. It's some supers. Going to be left behind by Sapphron. Going to head on south. There are 3 checks down there. The grapple beam area. First, the acid missiles. We have acid missiles. Amadeus, meanwhile, has taken down Fantoon. So we'll see. Will wrecked ship be the play? Does that have gravity suit? How much of an advantage will that provide Amadeus if that's the case? Sapphron, meanwhile, spin jumping up. We've got supers up at the grapple missile location. And grapple proper is also supers. Meanwhile, there's gravity suit. Commentator's blessing. So that is going to make things interesting, and Amadeus is going to skip out on the rest of the checks in wrecked ship. Sapphron, meanwhile, is climbing up, going to head over to Croc Escape, and is going to pick up his charge beam. So that does complete the trifecta for the microwave. So when Sapphron gets to Botwoon and Dragon, we'll have fairly quick kills in Meridia. But right now, Sapphron is frantically going, where is that gravity suit? And Amadeus is now, after leaving Wreck Ship and saying hello to the person eating plant there, taking a very nice moonfall through Red Tower, and is going to venture in toward Lower Norfair, I would certainly imagine. Although, given the low energy, maybe not. Maybe this is his play to go to Meridia. But you would think for time-saving purposes, after already having gone up once, well... Alright, does blow up, but keeps on going. Okay. So Sapphron, meanwhile, is heading to the X-ray check. We know that that is a missile, and he knows as well now. So this is going to be a matter of how quickly does Amadeus go down to Lower Norfair and take out Ridley and come back up to Dragon versus how quickly will Sapphron take out Thantoon and then go to take on Dragon in Meridia. And yes, both of our runners did pick up charge. The only difference in terms of beams is Sapphron has plasma, which was at the mouse location in Lower Norfair. And given Amadeus' situation, I have a hunch that he is not going to pick that up. The only other difference with our runners was Spring Ball, which was picked up by Amadeus, and that was found fairly early on. And it was found in Billy Mays, which Sapphron did not go check. So Sapphron is heading, I thought, back to the ship, but is going to go do a gauntlet check instead. So this buys some time here for Amadeus and potentially evens things up a little bit more here. So it was a fairly quick check with the space jump and the screw attack. And Amadeus is passing up the mouse and is not going to get the plasma beam. Sapphron, meanwhile, is heading up to the landing PB. We know that it's a missile. Amadeus now in the amphitheater. These checks just buying a little bit more time for Amadeus here. Will Sapphron head to Wreck Ship? And it looks like he is going to. Picks up the super missile at the moat. Amadeus, meanwhile, approaching the PB's a shame and is going to check it. And it's a super missile, not going to bother picking it up. Sapphron, meanwhile, is going into the mermaid missiles and will be glad to see that E-tank. You need a minimum of 3 E-tanks anyway to take on Mother Brain, so while they are both low percenting to a degree, you need a little bit. Dimensive, to answer the question in chat, gravity suit was in the wrecked ship left super missile location. So just after defeating Fantoon. So if Saffron, the sooner Saffron checks there after taking on Fantoon, which you would imagine would be one of two checks, the more of an advantage that he is going to have here. Now, he may end up doing spooky missiles and is indeed going to, so that'll buy a little bit of time as Amadeus is working on the Ridley fight as we speak. But the advantage, at least for the moment, looks to be with Saffron here. So we have dueling bosses. We have Amadeus with Ridley on your left. We have Saffron with Fantoon on your right. Amadeus dispatches of Ridley and is going to make the check. And we'll be displeased to see that there are missiles. Heads on out. Meanwhile, Saffron able to trying to get that microwave on Fantoon and does. There it is. So that is 3 bosses apiece. Amadeus now has to go all the way through Norfair, and Saffron should be just a mere minute or so away, maybe even less than, from picking up, maybe 30 seconds, depending on the direction, away from picking up the gravity suit. It really depends. Is he going to lay the bomb and go right, or is he going to go left? He lays the bomb, is going to go right. So this is a check that we haven't seen, but it is delaying the inevitable. And it's an E-tank, which is certainly not a negative sight by any means, and Saffron is going to pick that up. Providing just a little bit of leeway once our runners get to Mother Brain. But now Saffron with the bomb, and as stated, it took a little less than a minute, but there is the gravity suit for Saffron, and I'm pretty sure that given the caliber of our runners here, Amadeus is going to go ahead and check the spring ball maze missiles. That was supers. And Saf does have the reserve tanks as well. That's a good point. So I would imagine that there's going to be an ice clip coming on Saffron's side in Meridia. Not going to bother looking for speed. And those the plasma beam, as well as those reserves, certainly could make the difference. I know a lot of people in the community tend to refer to them as trash cans or Kappa tanks, things of that nature. But it's yeah, they're certainly useful. They have bailed out in this tournament here on a number of occasions, and yeah, this is going to be close. Now, Amadeus, it looks like, is going to go for a speed clip here. Now, we have seen... Okay, good. I was going to say, we have seen a runner in this tournament end up having to soft locked and ended up taking a forfeit based on that. But yes, both of our runners are fairly poised to enter Meridia at the just about the same time here. Oh, it was twice. Okay, Redemption correcting me here, our restreamer, that we have seen it on 2 different occasions. a soft lock in that location. And look at this. Both of our runners neck and neck here entering Meridia. You love to see it, folks. Neither one worrying about a check at this point. They are just both in get me to Dragon mode. But again, that plasma allowing for the microwave, I think, is going to be the difference here. That is going to be a huge advantage in dispatching of both the mini boss bot Woon, who we will see in just a matter of moments, as well as Dragon, the boss of Meridia here. So an excellently laid ice clip by both of our runners, and they're both here into Bot Woon, and you can see right there, oh, there is the difference. Bot Woon down on Saffron's side, Amadeus having to do a little bit more, not having that plasma beam. But still a fairly quick kill in his own right. And we see bombs. Bombs at the Bot Woon E-Tank. A nice pickup. Both of our runners having to take that long path, neither of them having speed booster. Amadeus going to do a little bit of farming here. And again, that's where the microwave comes into play. Amadeus had to use a lot of those super missiles to not only take on and take out Ridley, but never really got the chance to replenish and had to use some to take out Bot Woon. And just like that, this is where that lead for Sapphron starts to pick up. And to answer the question in chat, we do not know where Speed Booster is. Neither of our runners have encountered it as of yet. Worst case scenario, we will find out when the ending credits roll when our runners complete things here. And there is the microwave on Sapphron, or on Saffron's side, I should say, on Dragon. Not going to bother with the check behind. And that is all 4 bosses down. And Sapphron is going to book it into Torian. So this is, I'd say, looking at a definite sub 75-minute seed. I don't think it's going to be sub hour, but it'll be pretty close. Maybe a or sub 60, I should say. I don't think it's going to be sub hour. Maybe in the 62 to 64 range. And perhaps I'm being a little bit generous, as Sapphron does have a lot of tools. Yeah, with ice, that's right. So yeah, maybe like 61, 62 minutes. Maybe I'm being a little too lackadaisical. It's hard to say. I'm not good at the estimations with these things. But I will also admit that my familiarity with the tricks in the proverbial runner's arsenals are foreign to me. So I don't know what they can and cannot pull off in terms of time saving and sequence breaking. But you see the difference just in that plasma beam. Amadeus just now finishing off Dragon. And Sapphron, meanwhile, is almost out of Meridia that quickly. Amadeus is going to make the check. And it's a set of missiles. Amadeus going to skip the precious missile check. And Sapphron is making the climb, is in criteria. Will there be a ship save here, or is Sapphron just going to run on by? Is just going to run on by. Okay. So now back into Aqueduct is Amadeus. Meanwhile, Sapphron, he is approaching the entrance to Turian. And you can see they were neck and neck just moments ago. But that plasma beam was such a huge find and such a decent gamble on Saffron's part. That is basically going to be the difference here in this race. But anything is still possible, as Sapphron, even with those 2 energy tanks, or those 2 reserve tanks, I should say, just 4 energy tanks. So the margin for error is very, very slim. Sapphron now in the 3rd of 4 Metroid rooms. Amadeus making the climb is no doubt going to save at the ship to replenish the inventory. Amadeus making a fool of me by skipping on pass. I can certainly make a fool of myself very easily. No need to assist with that. But meanwhile here, it looks like Sapphron is attempting... Maybe was attempting a baby skip, but not able to get it. Thankfully, though, with just those 4 energy tanks, it doesn't take too long to be able to have the energy depleted. So yes, the baby noms occurring. A little bit of an animation skip by facing right when being taken in. Sapphron replenishes, and I believe also removes the screw attack. Probably going to do a Zeb skip here. So there's the freeze. There's a successful Zeb skip on Saffron's side. Not bothering to save, utilizing a couple of those frozen Zebs as a bit of a platform. And here we go with the charged shots. I believe it takes 20 charged ice wave plasma beams to take out Mother Brain. Now we're at the catch-up phase already for Sapphron. And it looks to be enough. Takes 1 hit. Takes another, and is getting the rainbow beam. A little swag infinite bomb jump before getting that rainbow beam. Amadeus, meanwhile, has gotten the baby cutscene and is going to replenish the energy. We've got the cutscene going here. Now, no speed booster for the escape, so I'm still fairly certain it's not going to be sub-hour, but it's going to be pretty close. Sub 63, sub 62, maybe even sub 61. And Amadeus is gonna. Oh, Amadeus is gonna open the door and head back to refill the missiles. Perhaps not confident in the Zeb skip. Meanwhile, the baby imputing the power of the rainbow beam into Saf. And now it's just the revenge factor. So Amadeus missing on the first attempt at the Zeb skip. Meanwhile, the countdown for the escape on Saf's side. The second attempt at the Zeb skip, unsuccessful. And the third attempt as well. Amadeus is set on getting this Zeb skip here. Meanwhile, Sapphron is in the shaft room. You have to figure at this point this is diminishing returns, but I guess with such little ammunition, it's kind of a Zeb skip or bust here for Amadeus. And finally does get it. And get out your GGs in chat as Sapphron is going to take the victory here and move to 5-1 in the Swiss rounds with an official SRL time of 1 hour and 28 seconds. My goodness. Well, we'll see if an interview is going to occur with either of our runners here, as Amadeus only going to be a couple of minutes behind. And just like that, Sapphron is not just in the green room, but here in the broadcast booth with us. Congratulations on moving to 5-1. GG to you. This was a phenomenal race. You're going to definitely enjoy watching this one back.
Yeah, that was interesting. The one major thing I decided not to do in this seed was check Blue Brinstar if I couldn't at the time. So like we didn't get power bombs on the initial entrance to Blue Brinstar, and I just decided not to go back because I figured that would be something that Amadeus would do, and I decided to just go down and basically skip most of those checks. Obviously, I got that the side hopper item, but I didn't go through the rest of that and check what was in like what was it, criteria supers and stuff.
Oh no, and Amadeus taking a death to Mother Brain and puts in the forfeit.
Yep.
Two
Dang.
things of note here is Amadeus in the green room, and I think we'll wait for him to join us here, and I can kind of give the comparison and contrast. And as I say that, here is Amadeus joining us. A gallant effort here. This was very close throughout. Both of you entered Meridia at practically the same time.
What?
Yeah, no, like I said, when you go back to
Oh,
watch this, it's going to be there are going to be a couple of moments where your jaws drop as far as the synchronization in a couple of points. To your point, Saffron, one of the major differences was yes, Amadeus did go back to check Blue Brinstar, and the only major item of note, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek for a little bit of the community, was that. Oh, Saffron. Okay. See, I said Saffron initially, and then I was told otherwise. Okay. There are going to be a couple of moments where your jaws yeah, Saffron. Synchronization in a couple of points. Lost my train of thought for a second there. The spring ball was found in Billy Mays.
Oh, okay.
But that was really the only no. The major check that really proved to be the difference was in Lower Norfair at the Mouse with
Okay.
plasma. But yeah, Saffron.
I was, as I entered that spot, I was like, it'd be pretty funny if Plasma was here, and I was like, oh, it is, because that was the only thing I was gonna check.
But that
GG
was really
Saffron.
the only no. The
GG.
major check that really proved. Yeah,
First
that was the major difference, as you both entered Meridia at pretty much the same time, and where things started to peel apart was utilizing the microwave on Bot Woon and on Dragon on side. That was the that was the really the biggest difference. The only other thing was the opting on Saffron's part to collect at least one. I think no, it was two of the reserve tanks that were found. Whereas I think Amadeus, you had left both of them behind, or all
I
three of them
found three
behind.
of them. Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
found
skipped
three of them
all.
and opted to leave all three of them behind.
Wow.
But
How could
that
you?
was really the only difference. I mean, both of you, you were 4-1 heading into this for a reason.
Yeah, that was a fun seed. It was hard to think where gravity was, but eventually found it. Amadeus, did you go down initially?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to Red Tower, went down, pretty much full cleared Bubble Mountain and everything, and then went up, did Criteria Power Bombs, front of Gauntlet,
Yeah.
then went into Wreck Ship until I found gravity, then just took off.
Sounds like we pretty much did the same route then. Well, almost, for the most
Mm.
part.
When I found gravity, I was thinking you probably didn't make as many checks as me, and we're probably way ahead.
Not quite.
No, it was very even. That is for sure. One thing that chat definitely got a bit of a chuckle on was Vanilla Varia Suit and Vanilla Ice Beam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah, when I saw those, I was like, man, heck this seed.
And then yeah, the other item of note, both of you made the check to see that Charge Beam was at Croc Escape. So that was of note. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. So apparently, yeah, it didn't look like anybody was going to be finding speed boosters. It was in the left sand pit.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah, that was less than ideal. But yeah, all the other major items were pretty well accounted for. The bombs were at the energy tank at Bot Woon. I think both of you might have gotten those.
I know I got them.
I did too. It was
Yeah,
nice
that's right.
to
You had
nice
to because you
see
couldn't
that.
speed boost through. So it was you were forced to get them whether you wanted it or not.
Saved some power bombs, so I'm happy.
Well, I already had Spring Ball, so it didn't make as big of a difference for me.
Yeah.
I think the only bombs I actually used was just goofing around, laying them right after picking them up. As I just springballed through that little maze there.
Well, I pretty much don't have anything else to say. That's it for me.
GG Saffron, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
You too.
All right. Well, yeah, this was an amazing race here tonight. Saffron and Amadeus. Both of you, I believe, with the even at 5-1 or 4-2 records, I believe both of you are going to be in the rat bracket once the Swiss rounds conclude after next week. So there may be a potential rematch down the road. It is certainly hard to say.
Round
But
two.
either way, we look forward to more racing, not just from both of you, but from everybody here in the SMRAT community. And we are, in fact, a little less than 24 hours away, at least based on the schedule here. We have a pair of matchups set up for tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And well, we will see, as we only had the announcement a couple hours ago as far as the matchups. So there may be more scheduled over the course of tomorrow. So make sure to check out the Speedrunners Arena Discord for more information as things come along. Make sure to follow both of our runners. They gave you a phenomenal race here tonight. You can see why they are two of the top runners here in the community. And make sure to show some love to the folks behind the scenes as well. Redemption, who is our restreamer here this evening, Desmus2, who is our tracker, and of course myself. I'm Ferran Burgundy. You can certainly give me a follow if you like. I don't play nearly as well as either of these two, but I still have some fun when it comes to providing words to you here, and hopefully you have enjoyed it here tonight. So that is going to do it here for us at Speedrunners Arena. For everybody behind the scenes, until next time, I'm Ferran Burgundy saying stay classy, my friends, stay safe, and see you next mission.